Hello, everybody. I am Amira, Minister of Justice and Witness for Clackamas United Church of Christ, and also a community activist. I have Sandra here with me from LUS. Welcome.
Hi, Mira. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I had an event this last weekend, and I met you and several other folks from LUS. I think one of you guys spoke also there too. And I just thought that you guys have a lot that people need to hear. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about um, who you are and how you got involved.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, my name is Sandra, and I'm the Director of LUS. I've been involved in Latinos Unidos Siempre for as a director now for 5 years, but really I became involved as a youth. And what Latinos Unidos Siempre does, we are a youth-led organization based in Salem. We've been here since 1996, and the reason we started was because youth of color specifically were facing a lot of targeting by police, and in their schools they were being criminalized in the 90s with anti-crime bills and anti-gang bills that they were trying to basically criminalize youth based on how they were dressed, how they looked. And so the youth came together and combated that, and that's how LUS started. So I like to say that LUS started by combating the school to prison and deportation pipeline, because that's really the essence of the work. But then it became connected with everything around, immigration, with housing, with environmental justice. All these intersectional issues became connected, and we now organize to combat all those issues.
Yeah.
But recently, more recently, we just became more focused on education justice here in the Salem Kaiser School District.
Yes, yes. And if y'all check out their Facebook page, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive, the youth and how well just the communication skills, the just there. It's just so the confidence in youth. I don't see that often. I mean, very well put. There was a live on there about the school, the candidates for the school board and those type of things, and I was like, whoa, this is like this is amazing. So after seeing all of this stuff and looking at the leaders, what's the process for y'all to help develop amazing leaders? What is the training?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm so glad you asked that because we often don't get asked that question, and I'm very excited to talk about it. So at LUS, we have what is called promotores, youth promotores, which are like mentors who work as resource navigators and who are culturally competent to work with the youth, because often we don't have that outside in other spaces. And we get to work with youth one-on-one to address their needs, because it's not just about leadership development, but also addressing the immediate needs of youth who are directly impacted by the issues. And that's another thing I forgot to mention, that all the issues we combat are because we are directly impacted by the issue. The youth that you'll see advocating to end the school to prison pipeline have family members who are incarcerated, or they themselves have been part of the criminal justice system, or currently are part of the criminal justice system because they've been put in there through their schools. And so we do leadership development that way, where youth are directly impacted, so they're very passionate to advocate. And then we do a lot of education workshops that youth won't find in the public education system, right? Like talking about history, about policies that are directly affecting them and their families, and then teaching them how they can use that knowledge to advocate for themselves and their community is a way in which we've been developing that leadership. And then currently, with all the funding that we get, we provide paid organizing positions for youth. So everybody who you see organizing right now has the opportunity to be there as a paid youth, and this is really, really important. Because it closes that gap where youth usually don't have access or time to do this work, because they have other things like school and a lot of youth too have to work. So it really supports with that, especially during the pandemic.
Yes. That just makes me so excited. I don't know why. I'm like, anything I could ever do to help with training, leadership, mindfulness tips for youth, whatever.
That would be awesome.
I'm all for it. I have goosies on my face. I just love it. I want to get into this. One of the other things I saw is the in-depth survey policing in schools. It looks like you guys did a survey between November of 2020 to January 2021 of 150 youth. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so with our partners, national partners, we surveyed a total of 600 youth across the country, but 150 here in Salem School District. And the purpose of that survey was to understand how safe youth felt in their schools with police and security guards. And this survey really proves that the decision for Superintendent Christy Perry to not renew the contracts was right, because most of the youth, over 80% have said that they strongly agree with not having police in schools. A lot of these youth that were being surveyed were youth of color in the school district. We surveyed everybody who was willing to survey, but a lot of them were youth of color, because over 52% of the students in the school district are students of color. And so the survey really helped highlight too where most students want the funding going into. And one of those things was mental health, more educators of color, and more access to student resources that they currently don't have for their well-being and health.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so awesome. I would love to get into the event that happened with the young man. And it's about the School to Prison Abolition Fund. If you can get into that.
Yes, so we started a School to Prison Abolition Fund to support youth who are currently affected by the criminal justice system, and they can't afford to pay fines. Fines are usually one of the things that keep youth in the criminal justice system, especially poor youth of color. It's a tool, right? And so what we're trying to do, besides trying to abolish and address the systemic issues, is also support the youth directly through this fund. So the first $1,000 that we fundraised were donated to a youth who had been in the criminal justice system for years because he wasn't able to afford to pay that fine that he got when he was 12 years old. And now he's he was from 12 to 17 years old. He was still in probation because of that fine. So we were able to pay that off. And so we're continuing to fundraise to pay like the legal fees and fines of youth who are involved in this work, because it also means, that they are at risk of being targeted by police. They are at risk of being targeted by, white supremacists as well. And so we are using that fund. If anyone can support us to directly support the youth, with their fines.
Awesome. I'm trying not to get choked up over here. This is y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. Where can folks donate? How do they get money to you?
So we started a Venmo and a Cash App account. They're both at LUS Youth. And then we can also get checks mailed to our address, which I can provide if people are interested, to email me at info@lusyouth.org.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well. Is there anything else that you would like to say or that you want the community to know about LUS?
Yeah, so, we have worked really hard. We're very grassroots, and we've worked really, really hard for the past 25 years. And I wouldn't just say this fight is just a recent youth from now, but it's the youth that started it in '96 to finally end or push our school district to end the presence of police in schools, which is like the first step to justice in our education system, because we need to ensure that that money is reinvested in the well-being of students. It doesn't end there. It doesn't, stop at the removal of police. We need to make sure that our communities are being empowered to be involved in the education of our students.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my final question for you is, what is your superpower?
I think throughout this whole time, when I first started at LUS, I was, 22 years old as a director, so it was very challenging. I had to learn a lot of things and how to manage in ways that I never imagined. And I mean like budgets and like organizational development, all that stuff. So I think my superpower has been creativity. I've always been a very creative person, and that has helped me move through the barriers that I've faced in this position.
Yes, I love that. Very creative answer too. Thank you. It was really nice to meet you, and I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Very nice to meet you as well, and thank you again for, uplifting the work that we're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you guys need any uplifting, I'll be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Cool. Bye.